Welcome to Reach Out, the program that highlights the amazing work carried out by local nonprofits, the wonderful people who lead these organizations, and the committed volunteers who give themselves but wind up receiving even more. In Washington County, there are over 539 nonprofits, and over 200 of those are associated with religious institutions or organizations that grew out of ministries begun at local houses of worship. Volunteer Washington County recognizes that these nonprofits play a critical role and often collaborate with one another to bring about compassionate care for those in need. Here on Reach Out, we would like to highlight their commitment to our community and celebrate their generosity. My guest today is Yvonne Pfoutz, a member of the Unitarian Church of Hagerstown, and I'm so pleased she was able to join us. Yvonne will tell us a little bit about the history of her church and much more about the community's ongoing activities to promote social justice, improve the environment, and build a more tolerant and accepting community. Welcome, Yvonne. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about the values. I understand that the values of the UU Church are important, and in particular because there's not a creed within your church. So what are these shared values that the Unitarian Universalists profess? I'm
glad you asked that. It's very difficult to talk about UU beliefs because our beliefs are very diverse. What we have in common are these shared values and a way of looking at life, and these are explained in many ways by our UU principles. The principle of the inherent worth of every person tells us that every individual, no matter what race, gender, sex, age, sexual preference, religion, or economic status, every person has value. The idea of justice, equality, and compassion in human relations is the principle that helps us evaluate not only our own personal behavior, but also the activities in our communities and in the world at large. The idea of acceptance of one another and the encouragement of spiritual growth in our congregations is sort of the template for a UU church. The idea of the responsible search for truth and meaning tells us that each individual has to think for him or herself. The right of conscience is another principle, and that tells us that we must listen to the dictates of our heart and our minds, which sometimes may mean that we have to protest injustice. And our seventh principle, the idea of the respect for the interdependent web of all existence, tells us that caring for the world is a spiritual act as well. All these principles, I think, help us put our faith into action in our everyday life.
And I was just going to ask you about that. I know that the faith in action is a huge part of the Unitarian tradition, and I know you have many activities coming up. I was wondering if you could just tell us about some of the activities and that you have coming up and actually do in collaboration with other area churches.
Yes, I'd love to tell you about those. The next event coming up is the 4th annual Free for All. It's August 17th. It's a Saturday. From 8:30 to 11:30, and it's in the courtyard of the St. John's Lutheran Church. That's the one on South Potomac Street across from the library. This event is a celebration of generosity. Everyone is encouraged to bring whatever they'd like to give away. Could be things from their garden, clothing, books, toys, school supplies, household goods, whatever is usable that they don't need anymore and they'd like to share. People are also encouraged to come and take whatever they can use. You don't have to bring something in order to come and take something, but we hope that most people will, so there'll be more to share. This is an event that was started 4 years ago by one of our members, and 2 years ago we moved it to St. John's because it's a more central location and people can get there even if they don't have a car.
That's super. And don't you have music there as well?
Yes, one of our members is a professional singer and he's going to play. And everything's free, so it's a good event for everyone.
My kind of event.
Yes.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Would you like to hear about any more?
Yeah, I was in particular interested about the human Parcheesi game.
Oh, okay. That's one. Our team, our church has entered a team in the Human Parcheesi benefit game. And this has been organized by the men's group at the Concordia Lutheran Church. And
where's that located?
It's down below halfway.
Okay.
I don't know the exact location offhand, but it's a little bit south of town. It's an exciting idea because it's going to be fun. There's going to be a huge Parcheesi board laid out on the parking lot, and people will be the pieces on the game. And the idea is that people have fun, but they're also competing for prize money that they can then donate to the charity of their choice. And our team's choice is to donate to the REACH program here in Hagerstown, which we've supported for a long time. So I really hope our team wins. Our Faith in Action chairperson is actually planning some practice games to hone the team's skill.
Oh.
So that's
And
one.
how many churches are participating in the
They
Human
have
Parcheesi?
space for 8 teams.
Okay.
And on our team, our church was so excited about it that our Faith in Action chair made sure that she got our entry in first.
Okay,
So
that's
we're in.
great.
Would you like to hear about Micah's backpack?
I would, and I know that that's something that's countywide.
That's a
Is that what-
county-wide program, mostly churches and other nonprofits. The idea is to provide backpacks of food for children over the weekend, children who might otherwise be hungry. So every week, a child receives a backpack with food, 3 balanced meals, and a snack for Saturday and Sunday. Our church partners with the Ringgold Church of Christ, and we provide backpacks for children at Paramount Elementary School. And last year we fed 12 children. This year we're going to have to come up with the money and the people to do it for 17 or more children.
Well, I know the UU Church has been involved in so many different activities. I know you have a battery recycling program as well, and many other activities. We're just about out of time, so I wanted to thank you, Yvonne, for coming, and thank you, our viewing audience, for participating. I hope you learned something new and that you were inspired to volunteer either through your house of worship or a local charitable organization. Susan B. Anthony, herself a Unitarian and a famous advocate for social reform and civil rights, said, "Organize, advocate, and educate. This must be our cry." I say to each of you, look within to find out what your concern is and address it. Get involved. You'll be glad you did.